Yay! Wow, wow, wow. What a beautiful evening it will be happening from now. Even, sometimes we are not dependable on technical stuff, but the beauty, of course, it's what is always saving the world. And look at this beauty we have now on our podcast. So just my audience, my lovely audience, I would like to ask you a little bit patience because we have a little bit problems with internet. But like I've said to my sister already, but we are so beautiful and beauty is contagious and our vibration and smiles, it's the most important. So the world needs that. But anyway, I also would like to briefly introduce my very special guest today. So welcome to Diversity is the Game Changer, the new episode. I'm your host, Valeria Yapnes. You know almost everything about me because I'm all the time speaking that much and still learning just listening. So, yes, and in my episode, which I titled The Magic of Diversity, Pageantry, and Sisterhood. And of course, today, because of Sisterhood, I'm more than thrilled to introduce my very special, beautiful soul, beautiful inside out, truly remarkable, inspiring guest, my very best friend, and how we called it during Mrs. World Contest, sister. So this is my sister, Rei Obaigbo. Obaigbo, said I right? Yeah. The reigning queen of Nigeria 2022, the whole this year, which became the finalist of Mrs. World Contest in Las Vegas. And Rei is astonishingly professional entrepreneur, founder of OREIME, global keynote speaker, mentor, creative artist, and the descendant of the Ancient Benin Royal Family. So she's the Grace Royal Highness, of course, my sister. Haha. Using her talents to share her philosophy, reflecting a time, thought, and tribes. Welcome so much, my sister. Welcome to my podcast. And we have a little bit special precautions today. When she will be speaking, I'm mute. And maybe this is how actually I can teach to just zip. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It is an honor. It is a pleasure to be here, to be a part of the Diversity is the Game Changer show. I really missed you. And then talking about sisterhood and connection when it comes to pageants, I think our connection is one of the things that I hold on to because I know that connecting with you during a pageant was an experience on its own, as opposed to even in comparison with all the other relationships that I have had with other contestants. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you very much for having me. Yes.
Oh, my heart is so touched, and I have goosebump all my skin because I remember even, yeah, a very special moment. I met you from the very first, I don't know, minute. I just looked at this. You remember this fair with hats and cowboys. Like, oh, that's my girl. And we like really became sisters and experienced so much beauty because of you. And you will be always in my heart. So I'm so happy we reconnected today. And my dear straight, oh, I already mentioned that you are very diverse and your impressive life path and working career and all that. And of course, it will be for us. It's remarkable to dive in your story today. I'm so delighted to present you to share even more how beautiful and magnificent you are. But of course, before we came to who you became, this girl, this beautiful princess I've met 2 years ago. So everything starts from little princesses and little prince. So I met the very first question to you. Let's go back and we meet this little princess Rei, right? What she was like, what she was dreaming about, how she was brought up, what kind of dreams, aspirations, family she could experience, and how this could impact, or of course impacted your adulthood, your mindset, your life, and the Rei, the queen you have became. So how this little princess, if we want to meet, fly back in the past and talk to Rei, how was this little princess? So thank you. I'm muting.
Okay. Oh wow, that's a very fascinating question. So I am the first daughter of my parents. I have about well, I used to have three siblings, but I lost one of my sisters. Um, Actually, January is her birthday, so I lost one of my sisters some years back, and I have two siblings. But for the longest of time growing up, I was more a tomboy because I was like a little version of my dad. For the longest of times. And then pageantry found me, or I found pageantry somewhere in high school, that's secondary school in Nigeria. And that was towards the end of my secondary school, my high school years. Just before I got into college, I started pageants. I did one pageant, and it was really a life changing experience for me because it was literally like the Miss Congeniality movie where I was all with low cuts, proper tomboy, and then I go for this pageant and I learn how to walk, how to talk, and then at the end of the day, everybody's like, "Oh my goodness, that doesn't look like the same Ray we know," and I didn't even think it was the same Ray I was used to. And I think I was among the top three, and afterwards I ended up going for several other pageants afterwards, but I feel pageantry helped me evolve as a woman. It helped me learn about who I am as a person as well. And then there's so many times that pageantry has helped with me refocusing and redirecting my purpose on what I want and what I want to achieve. And then, of course, being a first child always comes into play because at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways that I think. I'm very open minded. I'm very driven when I want to get something. Uh, I think that would be some of the things that can come to mind right now with regards to the little Princess Ray. And my growth to where I am now as a person, as a beauty queen, and as a business, as an entrepreneur. So, yes.
Thank you so much for sharing with us that. So actually, yes, this princess, she proceeded because pageantry, it's not that popular in the part of world where I am living now. So basically, in Scandinavia, so they always ask, oh, it just in Ukraine, when I was brought up and raised, we had this special, yes, the beauty uh, competition, we just called it, but also we didn't know that much about that. So, but I'm so happy that in other countries, like because I also was speaking about Sargam, so these platforms that are so much more actually about beauty. It's really about the values, how you can mirror actually who you are when you're in interaction with other people, right? Like you said, it helps you and it helped, that's for sure me. And so it's platform for uniting, for so much great stuff actually. So I'm so happy that princes in your country and another country have really like knowledgement about this very strong valuable platform from the young age, and we should actually spread the knowledge more and more how useful it is for empowerment of women, right? So thank you so much. So my next question, you started already mentioned that you and I also presented your entrepreneur and so diverse and mentor, and you are the member of different very powerful organizations, and a keynote speaker and mentor for young professionals. But for me, the most important, not the most important, it's very open conversation, but because our industry and many industries now very concerned about green and sustainability transition, right? And I saw you were speaking about going green on Miami Summit, I believe, right? And for me, it's very interesting because you are the first one on my show who are in this real estate industry. And yes, and especially so interesting because you are from another continent, and how actually, if you can share with me how you can see from your perspective what means going green in your industry and also in your part of the world. Thank you, and I'm muting.
Okay, so yes, with regards to my profession, um, I'm a realtor by profession, and I'm also a marketing expert. So with regards to going green, I think one of the things that piqued my interest with green real estate is coming to understand that real estate actually plays a large role in a community going green. Not just real estate, the professionals within the real estate industry. That is, the architects, the designers, the engineers, and even the realtors also have a very significant role in helping their community go green. Now, going green is such a large term, it's such a wide term because there's so many ways that you can actually connect with it when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to being environmentally conscious, environmentally aware, being concerned about the ecosystem and all the different aspects of the environment that an individual can be or can participate in. So when it comes to what does it mean in my industry, in the real estate industry, our understanding of going green is very diverse in the sense that how an architect sees going green is very different from how I as a realtor see going green. I as a realtor, going green usually entails me educating my clients about some of the green features that they can introduce to their homes, or when it comes to commercial buildings or office spaces, being able to advise the residents or the businesses how they can go green or how they can be more sustainable in their businesses. And then when it comes to residential, commercial, mixed use, there are different ways that individuals can go green. When it comes to individuals as a person within their homes, it's then about the habits that you entail, that you get used to, or that you incorporate in your lifestyle, right? How you live, how you manage, and how committed you are in helping the environment be more conducive for the rest of us. Because at the end of the day, going green is not just about being able to cut down on energy. It's about being able to positively impact the environment in such a way that our world is made safer, not just for us, but for the future. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of damages, there are a lot of things that we do that actually negatively impact the environment that's not good for us now, and it's not good for the future. And some of the consequences are with the climate change that a lot of us experience, with heat waves that are going around, with floods, some of the natural disasters that some people actively are experiencing, globally. And so at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so what role can you play as an individual, knowing that some of the damages that's being caused in the environment might be from big corporatives? That is, we may not really have that much impact when it comes to oil spillages and all those other massive damages that are actually happening. But you as an individual, but us as individuals have our own roles to play in the sense that we can be more conscious in how we consume energy, how we consume water, how we manage some of the sources that we have, natural sources that we have, in such that there is enough, not just for us, but for those around us. So within the environment, well, there are a lot more people being more conscious about going green and being sustainable. It is more about educating people. So as a professional, I try to educate as many people as possible, right? My company, I try to incorporate a lot of sustainable actions and green awareness within my company. That is, when new people come on board our team, they're educated and enlightened in such a way that they can also educate their clients and enlighten their clients. So within the environment, more and more Nigerians are coming to be aware about sustainability and green and going green. But there's also the important part of the fact that Africa is a largely what's the word? We have a lot of greenery in Africa, right? Development is ongoing. It's still ongoing in Nigeria, in Africa, and there's still a lot of trees, a lot of green areas. So what we try to do as professionals is to create awareness so that we do not experience deforestation, where people cut down all the all the trees just to put up houses, where people turn green grasses into just concrete slabs. We try to create awareness around this so people understand that It's good to appreciate the greenery, the natural green spaces that we have. It's good to incorporate the natural, so you can have larger windows to bring in more sunlight into your homes. You can have better lights like LED lights so that you can manage energy and rainwater gathering. There's so many other things. There's so many things we can go in ways we can go into that. But that's just some of the things that we try to share as both a professional as an individual within my environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a great insights, and yes, I'm so sure with, and I agree with you 100%. It starts from every single each of us. It's about commitment. It's about to be conscious. It's about your choice towards responsibility. And actually, yes, it doesn't matter that much which industry we're speaking now about, because all industry actually are impacted of us, but it starts from very small actions. It's so true. So thank you so much. And for me, when we're speaking, like you have already mentioned, like sustainability, it's huge. It's so large subject. And if we try to break down a little bit, so in my thesis, in my PhD and papers also, I try to focus and emphasize to people that sustainability and going green, still many people believe it's just about CO2, it's about environmentalism. But sustainability, it's basically has three foundation, right? Pillars, like economical aspect, of course, environmental and social. And for me, I'm studying diversity because diversity is directly under the social aspect, which of course directly impacts sustainability. So that's my next question for you. It will be because also it's the subject of my podcast. So about the role of diversity, and then of course it's now everybody speaking about diversity, inclusion and equity. They are like three brothers or sisters. And in your personal vision, in your industry, again, what could you elaborate about the impact between diversity and sustainability? Thank you so much.
So much. Thank you very much. Okay, so when it comes to diversity in real estate, diversity inclusion is very important with regards to brokerage, with regards to transactions. We even have certain programs that include, I talk about home diversity, homeowner diversity, whereby new realtors, upon your training or during your training as a realtor, you're enlightened on the importance of diversity when it comes to the business, and removing yourself from certain prejudices and discriminations that some people might have from their background, and being able to be open-minded when it comes to doing business with real estate. Because there's some, in some countries where they have certain areas that they think are, for certain people, it is important for you to unlearn such things and learn how to do business professionally based on what people want, based on where people want to live and what they need, as opposed to what you think they want or what you think they need. So that's regards to professionally. Personally, I think diversity, inclusion is very important. Representation cannot be overemphasized in the sense that, let me give an example, right? Growing up, I think I'd mentioned earlier that I was very much a tomboy growing up. And one of the few women that inspired me was Kelly Rowland. All right. This Kelly Rowland is this beautiful dark-skinned woman that I grew up seeing on TV, and who would inspire me, like, oh, so you could be beautiful and be dark complexioned. Although colorism is it's a thing in Nigeria, but it's not that big a thing. Race, not really, because most of us are Africans. It's more a class thing here in Nigeria, right? But still, there was always the way of thinking, right, for some people growing up, where because you couldn't find dark-skinned women internationally recognized as beautiful, there was always that contention that some young children had. But then by the time we started seeing more and more colored women being represented as, oh, this woman is beautiful. People like Lupita Young with their hairs and beautiful natural kinky curls, and what's his name now? Grace Jones. Uh, you get to see more. We started seeing more and more of these women as we grew up, and it inspired us, young girls, to be like, oh, I'm beautiful by my own self. I don't have to be lighter. I don't have to be, my skin. It's not about your skin tone. It's about who you are as a person if you want to be beautiful. And so that representation made an impact in my life, right? And even my own, me being able to represent Nigeria at the Mrs. World pageant, that impact, I know how many young ladies have reached out to me and said, oh, you did the pageant with your natural hair, with your curls, and you didn't have the extensions, and you did it with the Nigerian. So I had the turban, the gele, we call it gele in Nigeria. You did it with the gele, and it was beautiful. That representation, that inclusion of culture, that inclusion of color, that inclusion of race goes a long way. Even the inclusion of gender goes a long way, in encouraging other people who have so much more potential to take charge and do what they have to do. So when it comes to diversity, I'm really always excited about it. When it comes to inclusion and equality, I'm really always excited about it, because I know that people shouldn't be judged based on their race, based on their gender. Like that shouldn't be the priority for anybody being judged, right? If someone is beautiful, they should be beautiful because of who and how they present themselves, as opposed to, oh, you're beautiful because you're this or that. Some people should just be beautiful because of their aura, right? So the importance of diversity is for people to step out of the way of thinking like, oh, I have to be a girl to be beautiful. Like, no, you could be a very beautiful boy if you want to. Or I have to be a gender. You just, who you want to be is not restricted to any race, shouldn't be restricted to any race or any gender or any of those restrictions. It should be based on who you want to be and where you want to be. So career wise, it shouldn't be your career choices shouldn't be directed based on your gender or your race or any of that, your passions or any of those things. And it is very exciting to be able to discuss diversity more and more, equality more and more, so that there are more young girls and boys, or gender fluid people who can then feel included in the progress that the world is making. So they know that whatever role you want to play, it has very little to do with what race you're from or what your gender background is. It's more about who you are as a person. And once you feel that space, once you understand that role that you play as a person, it goes a long way. If the world was empty and it was just you, who would you be? What would your essence be? And that's the main thing that diversity is about. It's about telling people the environment shouldn't be what makes you want to drive towards your purpose. Your purpose should be what makes you want to drive towards your purpose. So I hope that covers that question. Thank you.
Oh my God, you really, really now touched my soul, because I remember these precious moments when I saw you first, and I was like, oh my God, you remember, I always told you, oh my God, you are so beautiful. You are like Panther, you're like Bagheera from Malik, and all you guys from Africa, I was totally attracted. You are like my magnets. And you remember, I was like, please, can you please take you to your tribe, girl? So you remember at the end, so everybody, they even gave me this, okay, Valeria, you're actually African in your soul, but you look like this. Okay, it's mismatch, but okay, you can be butterfly scotch. I remember. So I was so privileged to be a part of you guys' tribe. I love it so much. And I was so privileged and honored, because I remember I asked you when I saw you with Gili, I was like, oh my God, we have been taking so many pictures. And I was literally, it was like, I was astounded of this. Oh, this is so beautiful. And you remember the very special night when everybody tried to look the most important, because it was Elvis Presley's sweet presentation, and I was so honored because I was asking you to make special African hairstyle for me. I even abandoned the hair stylist and everything. So, no, I want to be African, please do. But we didn't have that much time for Gili, but you still, I remember I've got very nice gift from Mrs. Nepal, right? And you made very beautiful turban for me. I was like this. I was so proud. Oh my God. And my very special dream actually is to come to Africa. And I was dreaming so many times about really taking on me like traditional clothes, traditional, like Sudgili, you learn everything about that for me. And be one of them, because it was so funny. I made in Soviet, and it was very strict. We didn't have much actually awareness that so many people are not like us. But when we got finally a little bit more on the TV, I remember I was so fascinated, because at that time I was playing in basketball, because I'm quite tall, And my absolute favorite, of course, everybody loved Michael Jordan, right? Of course, but my favorite was Scottie Pippen, and I was the first time when actually I could see people not my complexion, and I was totally, of course, attracted to opera. Opera still is my huge icon. I meditate with her every morning. Before I was talking to her, I was listening to opera. And then I remember I was probably 15, 16 years old, and I was asking, keeping my mom all the time, Mama, why you gave a birth to me? Like, why I'm a white, Mama? I don't want to be white. Look at them. They have so beautiful skin. They have so beautiful teeth. Look at their bodies, how they move. They don't have cellulite. They don't have acne. They're so, why? I don't want to be white. It was so funny. I swear it was. And now I have Nicole, my daughter. You can talk to her, because when we are with each other, I really, like, every single day I'm pushing her. It's like, oh, Nicole, because she wants to give a birth to many kids and adopt kids. And she said, Mama, it's okay. I'm also adopting kids and I give a birth. And I said, yes, it's okay. But one condition and rule, if we live together, can we please have at least 2 or 3? My favorite, okay, I don't know, some brown, small, nice. She's like, okay. Because for her and for me, like, it was actually this conversation again yesterday, because I was talking to her, I will be talking to you. And she knows I'm obsessed with you guys. And she's like, and then I'm like, Nicole, what about boyfriends? What kind of boyfriends you have in your class? So yes, but okay, it was joking, but about diversity and inclusion, oh my God, I saw it's so important. It's so beautiful to look now, and everything you have emphasized, that all these stereotypes, all this prejudice, all this stigmatization, like, who actually said that this or this is better, or how sometimes I'm really so angry, who actually can decide that this or this can be even compared. We are unique. We are created all together with different fingertips. Biodiversity, beautiful, because everything is so diverse. How you can choose that this is better and this is better? No, it should be valued for who you are, like you say now. Of course, look at you and look at me. Why we should of course be together, we stay together, create something united. We are stronger, we are rainbow, because you are like you and me, and we can exchange culture, habits. Look what we can create, not just like, okay, creatively, of course, the elegance and beauty and art is very important to feel our so special now in a very special, stressful situation in our world. But look at this, like you mentioned, global changes. It's really global issues, and if it causes so much damage globally, it's every single voice is counted. We should stay globally together to solve them, right? So, okay, but my next question, so thank you so much. It's amazing answer. And of course, I know that you're so wise. So that's why I'm so proud that you're my sister. So, yes. But if we are talking a little bit more about social norms and stereotypes, still, and I believe in my country and in Africa, it's still significant barriers to women to progress. And I'm so happy that you one of them, you're really role model, especially for young kids, right? that everything is possible, and not despite because you are this color or this, but because you are so unique. So I'm, and it's still it's about challenging the norms and stereotypes, right? And if you could, some strategy, if you could give some, actually girls in your country, in my country, like, you know, when they are so young, so yes, it will be always people who will be saying something, right, about saying something, I mean, giving stereotypes, judging everything, but how to listen your inner voice and not really be like, you know, sometimes we still, it's social media, so many opinions there. Everybody knows what you should do, they don't know what they should do, but everybody knows what you should be, how you should be, right? If your personal opinion, you could be like role model and mentor for young girls who's really like, you know, want to thrive and to do something with these barriers, what would be your advice? Thank you.
Okay. So the real estate industry is largely a male dominated industry, in the sense that for the longest of times it was like a boys club thing. So being a woman in the space, and then committing and working so hard to be a leader within the real estate space in Nigeria, for me, it took a lot of work, a lot of, being deliberate in my actions, being focused on the fact that I am always a representation of not just myself, but of my gender. In the sense that if I mess something up, I always have it at the back of my mind that there's some um um you know people of the XY gender who would hold on to that and say, oh, this is the reason why we can't trust, this gender to do this. So a lot of times I work really hard to ensure that I can prove myself in whatever role I'm given. And it's also something about mentoring other young women, in the sense that a lot of times I have people reach out to me on social media and say, oh, I am trying to come into this space. I do not know how to start, or I'm being preyed upon by someone of the opposite gender who's trying to exploit my being a novice for sexual purposes. And in those situations, I take the mantle and I guide them on what they need to do to get it right. And in some cases, I encourage them to expose, whatever predator or whoever it is that they feel is preying on them, on their innocence or their disadvantage, to come into the space. And when it comes to strategy, what I would say is that everybody's different. What you need to always understand is, what is your strength. I think I had mentioned previously where I said, if there's no one else in the world, if it is just you, what do you think your purpose is? What do you think your essence is? That is, there's no one telling you what to do. There's no one telling you what to be. What is that thing that excites you? What is that thing that drives you? Right? And if you come to terms with what they are, and you hold on to them as your purpose and your motivation, you don't have to listen to anybody. You don't have to listen to social media. I'm not saying that those that's not our reality. Social media is our reality, right? It's inevitably going to influence your thoughts sometimes. Okay. But you need to always remind yourself who you are as a person. What is that thing that makes me happy? What is that thing that makes me content? Where are those moments that I feel true success? If it is in completing an artwork, then maybe art is your thing. If it is in completing a full building, then yes, you can build a house. If irrespective of whatever gender you are. And so when it comes to saying, oh, what does it entail? I would say it's all about being true to yourself, knowing who you are, understanding your environment and how best to use your environment to your own advantage. And then, of course, understanding that you're always a role model for other people. You may not see everybody that you're a role model for, but there are people that you inspire. There are people that your successes, your your wins, your victories, there are people that they inspire. And you should stay inspired by the thoughts that there are people that you're inspiring. That's about it. Thank you.
Amazing, yes, and I that's I love this with my podcast. I'm I really like, it's this radiant energy. I'm so inspired when I'm talking. And this energy, it's so special that you even don't feel that I'm in this very cold, dark Norway now, and you are sitting in Nigeria. And for me, like, it's almost how I could hug you, but I want more. I was hugging. We were always all the time on each other, right? It was so beautiful. Yes, I'm so great for your words, for your inspiration, for your experience, and I love this idea because it's huge, powerful tool for us to use our imagination. And it's true. It's like if we could put ourselves imaginably in one situation, like you said, okay, if you're just the one person in the world, it's true. It's like, I will be using it. Thank you so much. It's fascinating advice for me for the future, because sometimes I'm so overwhelmed. It's so much which happens that it's so easy to really to reflect and to listen to your inner voice, and not the right truth, like answer which will be aligning with your integrity. But maybe, yes, not maybe, if you just can imagine that you are on the, like, special island and nobody is there, right? But you can fulfill your purpose. What should you have been done, right? It's the same, like they say, the most honest smile, actually, when you're smiling when nobody's there, just with yourself. It's the same, basically. So yes, be truly yourself, right? Yes, be aware that there are a lot of people around, a lot of obstacles, but be elaborate, choose, like, what thoughts to put in your head, what role models to be inspired of. It's always people who will be telling, no, 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 you can't do that. But will always be my sister Rei said, no, of course you can. Yes, nobody promised it would be easy, but it's worth it, right? And this is also about pageantry. I mean, oh my god, this experience was totally crazy for me, because I imagined that, okay, 64 or 68 ladies with selfies, with horns from different continents, right? And trying to speak the same language, but not all of them. How they could call it sisterhood, actually. And what I've experienced, especially with you, it was blow minding. It was total changing for me. And I try now to angle it toward that it's very powerful platforms to share very special messages, right? For us equally, for our countries, but also internationally. And what is my greatest passion now, it's completely new, not completely, but still very new aspect of diversity, which is called neurodiversity. And it's basically the same approach, that it's not just how we look, we are all different, but it should not just count and matter, but it's so valuable that how we think, process information, reflect, respond, and everything, it depends in our mind, that our brains are wired differently. And so many people now, they are more and more open and aware that 35% of people in the world, they have special type of brains, let's put it this way. Like, and for me, I have OCD, like official diagnosis, and it's spectrum. It's very wide, because we are still in the lack of actually knowledge. And me also, if I didn't have the data, how could I know about that? So if people still, like, said autistic syndrome, OCD, ADHD, PTSD, it's just like this, it's very rigid, right? But I would like to amplify, I'm displaying and I'm advocating that neurodiversity, which I am now representing, also very diverse. And it doesn't mean I'm just disabled. It doesn't mean that I'm broke. It doesn't mean I am the person just with disabilities. Yes, I have my struggles, I have my challenges, but still, uh, we can create, we are valuable. Every single person is the resource. And I mean, I was talking much about that with all different persons in different industry, but I mean, we women, right, we use more probably social media, we use more platforms, we like you said, we are more care about representation. So like you and me, I believe like it's so powerful if we could start also using our platforms to advocate the diversity also in this aspect, neurodiversity. It's so valuable approach. So have you heard about this terminology? Have you been faced with people who has this neurodivergence, let's say like that? And what do you think, how we can create more inclusive world for people like me, like I don't know, them? It's more and more who is actually becoming open that they have special okay, it's still called just disorders, but for me I try to say it's different order of your brain, not disorder. So okay, I'm trying now really to sip, because this is, you see, it's very um, special, very passionate subject, which is completely new for me. That's why I can sit and still. But I don't want to put just my purpose in your head, you know, because I feel like I want like, you know, to know what you're thinking about that. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the question. Well, I understand that a lot of neurodivergence are just people who think differently from neurotypical people. So neurotypical people, people who, you know, their brains process information and process things the typical and normal traditional way. I wouldn't say normal, just the typical way that, you know, the textbook way. Whereas neurodivergence are people who process things differently. So we have those who might have attention deficiencies, and their way of processing things is different from you know, someone who might have you know, OCD, as you'd mentioned, or I know there's so many other types of you know, there are so many other mental conditions. But the truth is, every human being, according to study, everybody has some um divergence to an extent, right? From autism to ADHD to OCD to you know, bipolar, the different spectrums across the different types of, you know, the different diversions and different types of thinking. And at the end of the day, I think it's more internal, in the sense that it's more personal, right? I personally was diagnosed with ADHD at some point in my life. And you know, I understand that the way I think is different from the way other people think. But I think the way everybody thinks is different. That is the way it was intended naturally, because if we all think the same, it would be a very boring world, wouldn't it? Um, so yes, the difference in the way people think is always an exciting part of being human. And some people think in a different way, and some people think typically, and that's just how it's going to be. And at the end of the day, it's about understanding, especially when you are with the responsibility of raising another human being. And then you get to have to understand who they are, how they process things, and you have to walk them through self acceptance, because that is where parents come in. That self acceptance is a very necessary phase that a lot of people do not have guidance walking through. And then when they become adults and they haven't processed the acceptance of self, they then start to project that to other people and judge other people based on their own rejection of themselves. And that's a journey that, you know, at the end of the day, yes, your parents are there to guide you through the acceptance of yourself, but it's still your journey at the end of the day. And it is unfortunate that some people never learn how to accept themselves. And never even learn how to accept others, because it is only when you accept yourself and your difference that you start to look at others and accept their difference, and then you start to experience empathy and connect with other people. So I think when it comes to neurodivergence and neurotypicals and the different types of processing things, I think that is something that can go back into philosophy and go back into religion and faith when it comes to acceptance of self and then acceptance of others, which is what love is about, right? Because love is acceptance of self, and loving your neighbor is acceptance of them. And so at the end of the day, that is kind of like the seed of most religions, where it's about you understanding yourself, accepting yourself, understanding others, accepting who they are. And life is so much more easier when that happens. So when we say, oh, neurodivergence or neurotypicals or the different types of thinking, I mean, people will think how they want to think, right? And at the end of the day, if you understand who you are and you understand this is how I am, you accept that. Or what then happens is you then try to find environments that you flourish in, and you remove yourself from environments that you know are a hindrance to yourself. Right? And at the end of the day, you eventually find where you should be, your purpose, right? And you flourish in it because, as I said, you're true to yourself and you're true to who you are, and that's the main thing when it comes to accepting the way other people think, and whatever mental conditions that some people might have, and whatever mental conditions that you might have as well. So there, thank you.
Oh, thank you, my love. Every single answer, yes, it touched my heart because um, I'm immensely sharing your opinion that it's the most important. Yes, about empathy, self-love, and basically, if you are focusing every single day on kindness and loving, you can hardly project something harsh towards other people. It's about really, if you are happy. I remember my therapist. Okay, it's not like buzzword now, train my therapist, but because I actually need, I'm so happy that I have chosen one of these powerful healthy tools that to accept the way of being therapeutic approach. So she said just, Valeria, you should learn one thing, that happy people, they always try to make another people happy, or at least they never try to hurt other people, because they are so happy, they are so full of happiness, so they don't use this time for, but hurt people, they always find something what is wrong with you, because basically for that it's much easier to judge them. Yes, so I think it's about empathy, it's about unconditional love, which is called in different languages, in different religions, maybe in a different type of vocabulary, but love and empathy and respect, I think these three things, then our society and humanity can thrive, really. So, but for me, I believe it's so important, if I have the opportunity to raise my voice for advocating for people who has these challenges like me, at least to show them that they are not alone, they have belonging, that all, it's not just, it's okay to be not okay all the time, it's okay, especially now in this hectic world with a lot of stress, and it's okay to have anxiety, you are not alone. Look at us, we are together, and we are many people, we are so different, and yes, we have these challenges. Yes, it's brain, it's our system, the most advanced, difficult part of our body. Of course it can hurt, of course it can have some uh, viruses. I don't know if we sometimes can compare now everything with computer and with hard disk, and you need reload, you have everything that's happened with your hard disk, right? Why it should be so it's still in society that to be different, it's challenging, right? You should all the time to defeat why you are different, because it's everything what is different from the normal people, they just, first of all, they will like, okay, it's not for me. It's always like that in all society. But I think it's just a little bit about lack of information, knowledge, and education. And if we use our platforms to raise awareness, just to give more information, education, then it will be easier for also other people and for small generation, generation Z or all this, just to open, to make their lens watching and judging people wider. Okay, she's just different. It's so cool. Look, she's completely different. Why not? So yes, I mean, like you and me, it's so great that we can really raise awareness, right? You are using your platforms, and I'm trying to use in mine. So together we are united. And before we wrapping up, I have a small tradition already in my podcast, and even I've been to Morocco now, and I bought this one. I can use now to say yesterday I used first time like this one. What is reminding you? I'm mute. I'm mute. But okay, I can. Yes, no. First, you can ask. What do you think this is?
Yes, I said the lamp, the genie, the genie.
Okay, so today I'm your Valley, okay, Genie, but Genie, he was very generous, right? That man, powerful man, I can do everything in this world, blah blah blah. We do. They can speak. Okay, joking. Of course, we need each other, but I mean, like, but for me, still, probably I don't have that much time because I would like to give at least a wish to every people I love, and I love so many people, or I want, at least I wish that their wishes can come true. So I can grant you a wish, but sorry, sis, even for you, just one wish. What wish that would be? Not three. Sorry. Okay. Maybe when I'm coming to you, Nigeria, and you teach me, and I will be in your clothes and Gili, you will get the second wish. But today, just one.
Just one wish. Oh my goodness, what can that be? I have so many. um, okay. Well, I'm trying to start a very large project here in Nigeria, where we house for women from violent marriages, where we create a safe house for them, right? So I would love if I could get some financial assistance to achieve that, and have our project roll out this year, because initially our project was going to take another 3 years. So my wish is for it to happen this year. I would love that.
Oh my God,
Okay.
this is so beautiful wish because it's not just for you. So yes, I really need to talk to the boss of the genie and everybody that we should grant this. Your wish will be like kind of wish XXL, this XXL, like X small, medium, XXXL. So yes, let's pray for that. And anytime if you need my experience, knowledge, everything, my head, my 6 languages, my strange old head with my OCD, I'm here always for you to help. And I'm so happy because I've got already invitation once, and you have, of course, invitation to Norway. So we can actually probably do something together about your project. So let's talk about this after podcast, right? So I would like, of course, to thank you so much. I was so privileged. It was a magical, beautiful moment. Nothing could stop us, not this internet issues and, all that type. And what can I say? Just really, really grateful for all your insight, for you being you, for your parents that they gave a birth to you. And you already, it was my blessing and gift when I met you. I could spend my time in real life with you. Really, I will cherish all these moments in my heart all my life. And of course, I'm so happy to know that God are sending his best angels like you, and you are doing that great job for him. When you are on your continent, you are teaching, you are mentoring, because the knowledge at the end of the day is the most powerful and important you can give, right? Because you remember this knowledge, like, it's much better not just to give a fish. You need to teach to fish people, right? So it's so important. So what you are doing every single day, I'm so proud of you. So thank you for being with us. And of course, I would like to thank our audience. They're staying with us. I hope you have been enjoying our enlightful conversation. And to all these beautiful ladies, which we were already talking about in your continent, you will have word, because we just switch in microphone. You will be turned. So I will just be finished with my part, but you will have your turn. And so stay tuned for more conversation that inspire and power. And at the date of our today conversation, I just want to appeal to every woman. Embrace your inner strength. Break free from limitations. Rise to your fullest potential. Knowing that your voice, your vision, and your power are limitless. And look at our role model, my sister Rei.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for these questions. Some of these questions have had me rethink and think about and appreciate my steps and my growth so far. Especially when you asked me about my childhood, and it made me just think about how much I have grown as a person, and to who I am. So thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited. I'm really glad because I know that this few questions could make an impact, even if it's just the little seed in the mind of someone else to motivate and excite them to do more. That is enough purpose for a lifetime. So thank you so much. Thank you.